Tonight, an unexpected revelation from the Princess of Wales. Catherine says she has cancer.
This, of course, came as a huge shock.
After surgery and months of wild speculation, Catherine's message to the public.
It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family.
What we know about the diagnosis, treatment, and the announcement that caught so many off guard. A deadly attack in Moscow. Gunmen opened fire at a concert hall. We break down why ISIS is claiming responsibility. A historic Canadian win.
I knew I was older than everybody else trying to come back and do this, but I felt like I could.
What it takes to become a world champion at 40.
From CBC News, this is The National with Erica Johnson.
Thanks for joining us. Ian is away. After weeks of widespread speculation, rumors, and conspiracy theories about her health, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, made a shocking announcement. She has been diagnosed with cancer and is undergoing treatment.
My work has always brought me a deep sense of joy, and I look forward to being back when I'm able. But for now, I must focus on making a full recovery.
In this personal and candid video, Catherine describes the diagnosis as a huge shock. The princess requesting privacy as she and her family navigate this challenging time. Kensington Palace says Catherine waited to share the news until her children were on school break away from media coverage. Chris Brown now with the stunning disclosure and the reaction.
Catherine had barely been glimpsed in public since Christmas, which had fed furious internet speculation and wild conspiracy theories about what might be going on.
Yeah, well, very happy Christmas.
It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our
But
entire
in an
family.
unexpected video, the Princess of Wales herself provided the answer.
In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present.
Catherine did not say specifically what type of cancer she was diagnosed with, only that she began treatment at the end of February.
My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment.
On the streets of London, the unexpected news caught people off guard.
I'm absolutely devastated because she's a sweetheart.
Whenever anybody, gets cancer, it's a horrible thing to hear.
The most common cancers we think about are colorectal cancers.
This oncologist says the fact Catherine used the term preventative chemo is significant.
The goal of further treatment or preventative treatment is to try to keep the cancer away and reduce the risk of recurrence. So that's an optimistic phrase to use in talking about the use of chemotherapy.
Speculation about Catherine had been fueled by Kensington Palace handing out a manipulated family photo and her husband William skipping public appearances. But royal watchers expect the sentiment now will be sympathy.
This gives context to Prince William pulling out of the memorial service for his late godfather, King Constantine. Even arguably the furore about the photoshopping of the Mother's Day picture can be forgiven now, knowing what she's been going through.
Catherine is the third person associated with the royal family to announce they have cancer, after King Charles and Prince Andrew's ex-wife Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York. In a statement, the King praised Catherine's courage for speaking out about her diagnosis. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan, who haven't seen William and Catherine since the Queen died, also wished her health and healing. Catherine's illness will diminish the royal family's already reduced public presence. She was supposed to return to official duties after Easter, but now says she'll be off until she's better. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
Catherine is far from alone confronting a daunting diagnosis. As Christine Birak explains, the princess is actually part of a growing cohort of cancer patients, all under the age of 50.
At 42, the Princess of Wales is seemingly young and healthy, which may lead you to ask a question medical researchers have also been asking. Why are so many young people getting cancer?
There are studies that have shown that in certain cancers, the rates are rising amongst younger people.
An American study examining patterns in cancer incidence among people younger than 50 from 2010 to 2019 found rates of early onset cancers increased substantially, adding gastrointestinal cancers were the fastest growing.
We are unfortunately seeing more incidences of younger people being diagnosed with cancer, in particular colon cancer.
And at this point, it's really unclear what's driving that. I mean, the potential factors are things like diet, nutrition, lack of exercise or a more sedentary lifestyle, obesity.
We don't know what type of cancer Catherine is dealing with. We do know she's receiving preventative chemotherapy. Kensington Palace says she's expected to make a full recovery.
I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal.
In Canada, 45% of people are expected to be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime, most commonly lung, breast, prostate, and colorectal. And while the number of cancer patients aged 40 to 50 are worrying, the vast majority of patients are older Canadians.
We believe that if most Canadians were proactive and participated in screening programs at the appropriate age, there'd be a significant decrease in the number of cancer-related deaths.
And while Kate may be among the most high-profile people dealing with a cancer diagnosis, she knows she's not alone.
For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
And stay with us for more on Catherine's cancer diagnosis just ahead. We'll talk to an oncologist about that preventative chemo, why it might be necessary. Plus, a top royal watcher on how the family's holding up with 2 senior members now dealing with cancer. That's in about 25 minutes. To a breaking story from the Moscow area now. The city is in shock after several gunmen stormed a crowded theater. ISIS has claimed responsibility. Security officials say at least 60 people are dead and 100 injured. Crocus City Hall seats more than 6,000 people. A concert there tonight reportedly sold out. During the attack, it either caught or was set on fire. Fire crews struggling to contain the flames. The situation inside, more horrifying. Ithil Musa now with what we are seeing and hearing, including unverified and, a warning here, disturbing images of what's believed to be the deadliest attack on Russia in years.
Dressed in combat fatigues, at least 4 gunmen burst into a concert hall in Moscow, firing automatic weapons into crowds, calmly and methodically killing dozens of people. Russian media says the attackers set this massive fire, partially collapsing the roof. We heard gunshots. At first, we didn't understand what had happened, says this witness. Then I personally saw how the terrorists came in, started shooting everyone. In the end, they threw a Molotov cocktail. Everything was set on fire. About 100 people were rescued from the basement of the venue, taking shelter from what Russian officials call a bloody terrorist attack. ISIS has claimed responsibility, a claim bolstered by U.S. security officials.
The images are just horrible and just hard to watch, and our thoughts obviously are going to be with the victims of this terrible, terrible shooting attack.
The U.S. Embassy in Russia had warned that extremists were planning an attack in Moscow.
The Russians are enemy number 1 for ISIS. They have been attacking ISIS in Syria as the Russians have supported Assad. The Russians have of late been increasing their influence in Africa to help those African countries in their fight with ISIS.
Vladimir Putin was briefed on the incident. Russia's president has just secured his 5th term. Amid Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine, Kyiv denied any involvement in the attack. Moscow has canceled all mass gatherings this weekend, and tonight stands a billboard in Russia's capital with the words, "We grieve." Ithil Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
Okay, let's bring in our Russia correspondent, Briar Stewart, in London tonight. Briar, Moscow has suffered attacks in the past, but this is a shift.
Yes, Erica, Russia really hasn't seen the scale of this kind of attack in Russia in really over a decade. In the late 90s and early 2000s, the country was rocked by a series of terrorist attacks, including in 2002 when hundreds of people were taken hostage at a theater in Moscow by Chechen rebels. More than 130 died. Now, earlier this month on March 7th, Russia's security services said it prevented an attack on a synagogue in Moscow that had been planned by ISIS. Shortly after that, the U.S. issued an advisory saying that it was monitoring reports that extremists had imminent plans to target large gatherings in Moscow, including concerts, and they warned U.S. citizens to avoid large gatherings for the next 48 hours. And you had other governments that then issued similar warnings. Now, earlier this week, Russian President Vladimir Putin called those warnings a provocation by the West. He described them as an attempt to intimidate and destabilize the country. Now, after this attack, there will be questions both in and outside of Russia about how the country handled the warnings and how it's responded to this attack.
And Briar, this story broke as you were preparing another story, a Canadian exclusive. Paul Whelan, a Canadian citizen and former U.S. Marine imprisoned in Russia, who reached out to you.
That's right. And it happened because we had passed along our contact information to a relative of Paul Whelan a couple of years ago. So when I was in Moscow, he had my Moscow number, and we gave it to his brother because if Whelan ever had a chance to call us, we wanted him to be able to get in touch. And after I relocated to London, we passed along the new contact information, but we really never had any indication that he would call until he did suddenly Thursday. Hi, Paul. Thanks for calling back. We got the chance to speak to Paul Whelan from the remote Russian penal colony where he's serving a 16-year sentence for espionage.
And it's quite obvious now that Russia took me hostage.
We were preparing for another interview when Whelan suddenly called from prison. He was arrested during a visit to Moscow in 2018 and convicted during a secretive trial. The U.S. government considers him wrongfully detained. Do you feel more concerned for your safety now than before?
I do. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's high time my government's got me home.
He's worried because of what happened to opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who died in a Russian prison last month. The Kremlin denies claims from Russian officials that it was responsible. But President Vladimir Putin did reveal this week that he had agreed to release Navalny in a prisoner swap, a deal which could have reportedly also freed Whelan, along with U.S. journalist Evan Gershkovich, in an exchange for Vadim Krasikov, a Russian national who's serving a life sentence for murder in Germany. How do you think Navalny's death affects the prospect of you being released in a prisoner swap?
It's a road bump. I think that the Russians didn't want to let Navalny go. They've been changing the goalposts since day one.
This news report that aired on Russian state media shows Whelan at the penal colony where he works 6 days a week making clothing for state workers. Earlier this week, Canada's ambassador to Russia visited him at the penal colony, and officials say they're watching the case closely.
Anything that the Putin regime does that threatens a Canadian citizen is something of concern to us.
It's unfortunate what happened with Navalny, but it also shows that this is what Russia does.
And after 5 years, Whelan fears he could be running out of time. Now, Whelan said at the end of last year he was very depressed and feared he might never be released after U.S. basketball player Brittany Griner had been exchanged in a prisoner swap and he hadn't been. He says even with Navalny's death, he does feel more optimistic about a potential release now.
All right, thanks for this. Briar Stewart in London. The violence in Moscow comes after a massive wave of Russian drone and missile attacks on Ukraine, killing at least 5 people. The prime target, Ukraine's electrical grid. That missile was one of 8 that hit Ukraine's largest hydroelectric dam. Other attacks hit electrical substations, taking out power across a large part of the country, including Ukraine's second largest city of Kharkiv. Back in Canada, the province of Alberta says it's stepping in after dozens of people, some newly discharged from hospital, were put in hotels with inadequate care. Julia Wong broke this story and shows us how the government says it's taking action.
For days, this Edmonton area hotel has been home for 39 people, many vulnerable, all under the care of an agency called Contentment Social Services.
We've got a problem with this service provider.
Now, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says the province is taking over. It will find them supports and a new place to live.
We'll be working with each individual to make sure that they are with a more appropriate care agency.
Smith says her government is also looking at more regulation for these types of providers. CBC News first broke this story 1 week ago with Blair Caniff, who's recovering from a stroke. He'd been expecting a care home and was taken to a travel lodge instead. His story has dogged the government ever since.
Is it acceptable for a patient who has high care needs to be taken to a motel?
Well, I was very concerned when I heard about this.
And have reached out to HS to have a serious conversation with them about their discharge policies.
How many other victims of UCP motel medicine are there?
Caniff was readmitted to hospital. He and his wife are relieved something is being done.
I hope the government will come up with a better situation for everybody, especially the vulnerable, disabled, and elderly.
Jenna Lee Green's father, Glenn, is in the Park Inn, now waiting to be moved.
It'll mean that he gets to be in a place where he's happy and actually taken care of and his needs are met.
But experts say there are still many unanswered questions.
Something of this should never have been attempted without clear and adequate oversight.
For this researcher, the issue has exposed gaps.
It pointed out just how short we are in terms of nursing home beds, assisted living beds, home care.
The province says if you're facing a similar situation, call them so it can investigate. CBC News reached out to Contentment Social Services but did not hear back. They've been removed from the list of housing agencies given to patients. Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
The federal and Manitoba governments are committing $20 million each to search a landfill near Winnipeg for the remains of 2 Indigenous women.
Today's a very bittersweet day. It's a sense of relief, but yet work needs to be done.
The search for the remains of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron won't start until after the trial of the man accused of killing them and 2 other women. It begins next month. It was an historic first at the World Figure Skating Championships last night. The golden performance proving age may be just a number. Next. Plus, ahead of this weekend's Juno Awards, some are asking what the future holds for music videos.
I'm just glad that the Junos care. They believe that music videos still matter.
And later, Princess Kate's shocking cancer diagnosis.
This, of course, came as a huge shock.
A royal watcher and an oncologist on what it could mean for her and her family. We're back in 2.
I'm more of a summer guy, and I was looking forward to wearing shorts and a t-shirt.
Southern Ontario is seeing a blast of wintry weather tonight. Parts of the Greater Toronto area could get up to 19 centimeters of snow. Some flights have been cancelled and dozens of bus routes suspended. The snow is expected to taper off by morning. Canada made history on ice this week with a victory in pairs figure skating. At 40, Diana Stellato-Dudek is now the oldest woman to win a world title in the sport. As Paula Duhacek shows us, she hopes it inspires others to live without regret.
Diana Stellato-Dudek and Maxime Deschamps.
A gold medal moment, many years in the making.
I didn't want to be, 80 years old wondering if I could have made it.
A former teen skating star, Chicago native Diana Stellato-Dudek retired before her 18th birthday. She got back in the rink at 33.
I knew I was older than everybody else trying to come back and do this, but I felt like I could and that I had the desire and the passion to do it. And so I just decided to go for it. And here I am at 40 and a world champion.
And she did so, skating alongside pairs partner 32-year-old Maxime Deschamps.
A decade of searching for the right partner, and he finally found his match.
Unusual given most skaters retire in their 20s, but with proper training, this physiotherapist says skating can be a lot like riding a bike.
So your body holds on to that memory and that muscle motor pattern too. So your body just remembers how to train, and it can handle those demands a little bit easier than, say, somebody who's just going to start that sport from scratch.
Like Stellato-Dudek, Liz Koshka spent her teen years in the ice rink.
But then life happened, university, career, getting married, having kids. So then your time just gets filled.
Now at 58, she's back.
You're never too old. I mean, we look at the skaters here with us. It's really incredible that you can keep going. There's no limits.
It's a message Stellato-Dudek hopes will make its way beyond the world of skating.
I hope that it transcends the sport, and people, if they have other passions in life other than their day job, that they have the courage to go after them when they see me making this leap in my life to go after this.
She's drawing on her own courage and hopes to get her Canadian citizenship to compete for Canada at the 2026 Winter Olympics. Paula Duhacek, CBC News, Calgary.
This weekend's Juno Awards in Halifax will honor the best in Canadian music, but also the visuals being produced for some of those artists.
When you have a proper music video as well, people take you more seriously.
Why some are asking, do music videos still matter? Plus, a shocking announcement from the Princess of Wales.
Tests after the operation found cancer had been present.
What her treatment might look like and what her diagnosis means for the royal family. Plus, a deadly attack on a Moscow concert hall. Why ISIS has claimed responsibility. The National breaks down the stories shaping your world next.
I know.
Celine Dion inside the dressing room of Montreal's arch rivals, the Boston Bruins, last night, announcing the team's starting lineup. In a social media post last week, Dion provided an update on her health. She's been dealing with an autoimmune disorder called stiff person syndrome and says it's been one of the hardest experiences of her life, but she remains determined to get back on stage. Well, the stage is set for the Junos this weekend in Halifax. One of the awards up for grabs, Music Video of the Year. How we watch them has changed, and as Magda Gabrisalasa shows us, so too has the art form.
Keeping it cool and calm at the keys is Brady Kendall, a Juno nominee. The artist is nominated for Music Video of the Year.
When you have a proper music video as well, people take you more seriously, you know? They think that the projects are more serious.
Never was it more serious than in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s.
Next Wednesday, DC.
Back when music videos ran all day long on Much Music, Master T was on the mic.
People would run home, set their VCRs to record at 4 p.m. to make sure that they caught that the big one at that time.
But with TV channels tuning out, this art form mainly lives online. And while traditional videos still exist, visualizers are now all the rage. Animated ones and short videos on a loop are just some of what's out there.
Everything is heading towards the short form and everything that we do, even our attention span.
Gibran Haddad recently questioned whether music videos still matter. He found that streamed hit tracks on Spotify get a lot more play than their music videos on YouTube. Going back in time, music video sets have been a breeding ground for future filmmakers. From Spike Jonze to Canada's Director X. Sterling LaRose sees that in his future, but his present is already pretty bright. 2 of his videos are nominated for a Juno this year, and he has faith this art form will continue to thrive.
Especially when it's an iconic album or a big song like that music video, people are going to be coming back to that video for years and years and years.
And the Juno goes to...
And keep celebrating them at award shows like this weekend's Junos. Magda Gabrisalasa, CBC News, Toronto.
And you can watch, listen, or stream the Junos this Sunday on CBC. Tune in live on radio, TV, and CBC Gem. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 Atlantic. Now it's time to break down the news shaping our world. A deadly attack kills dozens in Moscow, leaving Russians shaken. Who's behind it? But first, Princess Catherine's stunning announcement.
My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy.
We talked to one of the world's top royal watchers about that message and how the family is holding up with 2 senior members now fighting cancer. Vanity Fair royal editor Katie Nicholl is with us now from London. Katie, I know you have your sources in the palace. Can you walk me through the Princess of Wales' very candid announcement? What do you know about how this all transpired and the reaction?
Well, we understand that this timing was quite deliberate, not as you might expect to quash those many conspiracy theories that were, circulating on the internet and social media platforms and have been for some weeks now, but more because she had the chance to tell her young children, she's needed this space and time together with William to obviously get their heads around this devastating diagnosis. And because this really comes as the children have broken up from school, they're about to enjoy 3 weeks of the Easter holidays. And therefore, there can be a respite from the media spotlight and the family can really get away.
Katie, as we saw, there is a lot of interest surrounding the condition of the Princess of Wales. In many ways, Catherine has revealed a lot in this forthright video, but there are still some questions lingering, like her condition and what form of cancer. What's your view on the openness of her announcement and still the very real curiosity most people will have surrounding it?
Well, I think that curiosity is just going to have to take a back seat for the time being. I think we've seen the princess be as authentic, transparent and vulnerable as anyone might expect her to be. Yes, she is a public person, the most photographed, famous woman in the world, but she has every right to a private life when it comes to her medical health. And she's made it very clear that for the time being, we're not going to hear any more about what type of cancer, what stage. She's been very open that she's going through therapy. We know that this is preventative therapy, and I think we can read all sorts of positive connotations in that. She also says in that video that it was successful surgery. So I think lots of positives to be taken from this, but as you say, unanswered questions. But I think the recent speculation on the internet hasn't really taken into account that she's just a human being in all of this. She's a young woman, a young mother, and wanting and expecting a right to privacy.
Dealing with her diagnosis and the speculation. It was expected she would return from public duties after Easter. Do you now have a sense of what's in store for the Prince and Princess of Wales in the coming days?
My sources at Kensington Palace say that she's actually been well enough during these early weeks of chemotherapy to be picking up emails and getting involved with work. But I think possibly any sort of public outward-facing duties might have to be put on the back burner for a while. I think it's a case of wait and see, because we don't know how she's going to respond to this chemotherapy. Some people go through chemotherapy and actually don't suffer from terrible side effects. Some people suffer very badly. So I think it's a case of wait and see, but she's made it clear that her focus, whilst her joy is on her work, her focus is on her recovery.
And as we know, there are now 2 very prominent members of the royal family fighting cancer. The King, of course, is continuing treatment, and now Catherine. Who do you think will be doing the work for the family?
Well, we find ourselves in the most extraordinary of circumstances. A new monarch, 18 months into his reign, diagnosed with cancer, and the Princess of Wales, 2 of the most high-profile members of the royal family, and I think it's fair to say the most popular members of the royal family, at a time when the monarchy is looking increasingly slimmed down, almost skeletal. We know it's part of Charles's vision to have a slimmed-down monarchy, but it's looking very vulnerable at the moment indeed. So who does the pressure fall to? Well, I think certainly Queen Camilla, who we've seen pick up the mantle and stand in for the King on numerous occasions, including most recently the Commonwealth Day service, and to the Prince of Wales. But, William's in a very difficult position. He's got to carry on with his duty, and I think he absolutely will do that. We've seen him back at work already. But, all whilst having to worry about Kate and making sure the mother of his children is okay. Family has always come first for the Waleses, and this will be no exception. But of course, there is work to be done. The late Queen said she has to be seen to be believed. We need to see our monarch. We need to see these members of the royal family out and about. Otherwise, they can become irrelevant. They lose that connection with the public. And at this time, they really can't afford to do that.
Katie Nicholl, always appreciate your insight. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And today's video statement from Princess Catherine is certainly connecting with people in Britain and around the world, with many commending her for being so direct about such a personal issue. Here's another look.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment. This, of course, came as a huge shock, and William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family. As you can imagine, this has taken time. It has taken me time to recover from major surgery in order to start my treatment. But most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte, and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay. As I've said to them, I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body, and spirits. Having William by my side is a great source of comfort and reassurance too, as is the love, support, and kindness that has been shown by so many of you. It means so much to us both. We hope that you'll understand that as a family, we now need some time, space, and privacy while I complete my treatment. My work has always brought me a deep sense of joy, and I look forward to being back when I'm able. But for now, I must focus on making a full recovery. At this time, I'm also thinking of all those whose lives have been affected by cancer. For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
Dr. Gill, thanks for joining us. What does preventative chemotherapy look like?
Preventative chemotherapy typically refers to chemotherapy, which is anti-cancer medicine, given after definitive resection or definitive surgery of a cancer. In medical terms, we often refer to it as adjuvant chemotherapy. And the intent is to try to reduce the risk of a cancer that has been removed from coming back, with the intent of trying to eradicate any microscopic residual cancer that may be present.
Okay, so the princess is 42 years old, a relatively young member of the royal family, and her cancer is unspecified. What types of cancer are common in this age range?
So I think the first thing I will say, and I'm sure many Canadians are feeling this, is that, we wish Princess Kate, a full recovery. Cancer is hard at any age, but particularly at a younger age, and for someone who also has a young family, I think it really hits home for many people what she may be going through. Abdominal surgery is a very sort of obviously general term, and we don't have any specifics of the type of cancer that Princess Kate has been diagnosed with. When we think about common things being common within the abdominal cavity, the most common cancers one thinks of is colorectal cancer, which is the third leading cause of cancer in men and women. But other possibilities may include things like a gynecological cancer, potentially a uterine cancer, or things like gallbladder cancer.
Now, I know you're not a royal commentator, but many people were speculating where the Princess of Wales has been. For those who are undergoing early cancer treatment, what difficulties might have caused Kate to stay away from the public eye?
Well, a diagnosis of cancer is a life-altering diagnosis, and I think we can imagine the time it takes to process that and the personal time that's needed to accept that diagnosis, let alone the time that's needed to be able to share that with your family and with your children. So I think it's entirely understandable that she would have retracted from the public eye to take that time to absorb the diagnosis. So that, combined with the time that's typically required for recovery from any surgery, would also have required her to take more personal time.
Now, Catherine had an abdominal surgery in January, but was told at the time that her condition was non-cancerous. What are some challenges of detecting cancer?
So I think this is a circumstance where it sounds like she went in for a planned surgery for something that was not expected to be cancerous, or in medical terms, we would say benign. But following resection and likely on further examination, a cancer was incidentally found. That is not uncommon, that can happen. And so, in that circumstance, I think once a cancer has been diagnosed, and in this case has been surgically removed, the next question becomes, well, what additional treatment is required? And in this case, Princess Kate has commented that she's commenced on preventative or adjuvant chemotherapy.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Gill, when there is a public case like this, a lot of people start to look at their own health. What should people be aware of?
So, cancer affects, I think, everyone. Either we know someone who's been diagnosed with cancer or we've been personally affected by cancer. In Canada, our lifetime risk of developing colorectal cancer is 1 in 15, for example. Our lifetime risk of developing any cancer is almost 1 in 2. So I think when we hear of someone in the public eye sharing their personal story, I think the first thing I would say is I applaud Princess Kate for sharing that. It allows for the conversation to happen. It allows for people to become more aware of the reality that cancer can affect us all. And the other thing is that we need to be introspective about our own health assessment, understanding our risk of cancer, understanding our family risk, having conversations with our primary care providers about what needs to be done in terms of screening, and also enabling preventative and protective lifestyle factors like exercise, a healthy diet, and again, really being vigilant about symptoms.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Coming up, ISIS has claimed responsibility for a deadly attack in Moscow.
The Russians are enemy number one for ISIS.
The warnings the attack was coming and why Russia was the target. We break that down next. Chaos and terror in Moscow as armed militants kill dozens at a concert hall, later consumed in a massive fireball. ISIS has claimed responsibility. Russian authorities vow to punish those responsible. Ben McCoo is a national security reporter who has covered ISIS for more than a decade, and he joins me from Ottawa. Ben, you've been watching this unfold throughout the day. You immediately started hearing from sources that this looked like the work of ISIS. Why?
Like you said, this is an ISIS claim, so there's nothing definitive yet, but this was a mass shooting on civilians, not usually the work of a nation state. That kind of attack you do to scare civilians in their way of life, and this was an attack on a concert hall. This is something typical of terrorist organizations. Consider the Paris Bataclan attack, and not to mention, this is March 22nd. This is the anniversary of the 2016 Brussels attack that killed 32 people, and that was claimed by ISIS.
Okay, so some might wonder, why is ISIS targeting Russia?
For a few reasons. For one, Russia was one of the Assad regime's greatest allies during the Syrian civil war and bombed ISIS regularly. So they've not been good terms since. But more importantly, Russian authorities, by their own admission, thwarted an attack by ISIS-K in Moscow only weeks ago. This isn't something new. In fact, the U.S. warned the Kremlin that ISIS was plotting attacks in Russia.
Okay, so we all know about ISIS. You just mentioned ISIS-K. Tell me more about that.
Well, ISIS-K stands for Islamic State Khorasan Province. It's the Afghan offshoot of ISIS, centered in eastern Afghanistan. They've been trying to carve out a place in the country since the pullout in 2021. It's currently at war with the Taliban, and Russia is warming to the Taliban. Just last week, it was reported that the Taliban installed a military attaché in Moscow. So this very much is an attack of an ally of your enemy.
Okay, now initially there was talk that this could be Ukraine behind the attack. What do you make of that?
Let's take a look at Ukraine's suspected operations in Russia. They've supported a Russian battalion in its incursions into Russian borderlands. They've sent drone swarms to bomb refineries inside of Russia. They've undertaken special operations inside of occupied territories. None of this is the wanton killing of civilians, nor would it benefit them.
Okay, so what's next? How do you think Moscow is going to react to this?
So far, people like the former president Medvedev are blaming Ukraine, but Russia has in the past shown no hesitation in dealing with ISIS militarily.
Okay, thanks for this, Ben. National security reporter Ben McCoo in Ottawa. And coming soon, our look at a one-time Hollywood vacation hotspot turned desolate landscape, now drawing in corporations, hoping to strike it rich.
We'll produce about 20,000 tons of lithium hydroxide product. That's enough lithium to manufacture about 500,000 electric vehicles per year.
As it stands, is the community set to win? No, we're not. So we have to come to the table.
The race to mine lithium in California's Salton Sea, the jobs it could bring, and the pushback from locals. Look for that in the days ahead here on The National. Coming up, the unlikely friendship between a boy and a crow named Russell.
They had this innocence that made them bond and, became friends.
The unbreakable bond, next in Our Moment. Nope, that's not a pesky bird trying to steal some food. That's Russell the Crow. He's paying one of his regular visits to his 2-year-old friend, Otto. After being rescued by Otto's parents, the bird and the boy became inseparable. Russell almost never leaves Otto's side when he stops by. His mom, Laerke, spoke to us about their bond. The unlikely friendship makes Our Moment.
It all started last summer. My boyfriend noticed this little scrawny crow, and he was more dead than alive. So he decided to call a wildlife rehabilitator. They basically told us to let nature take its course. And we decided that he should have a fair chance in life. So we took him home. We decided to name him Russell Crowe, and then one day I just noticed Otto walking straight up to Russell and interacted and, wanted to touch him and play with him, and Russell allowed him to do it. He didn't flirt or anything, and children, they had this innocence that make them bond and became friends. He still comes by now and then. I can still see that he can remember us and recognize us.
Wow. Now, apparently the family has implemented a new rule: no petting or touching Russell the Crow, so he can fully reintegrate back into the wild, and it is going well. So that is a story to crow about. For all of us here at The National, thank you for being with us. Do not forget, CBC will have full coverage of Brian Mulroney's state funeral tomorrow. Chief Political Correspondent Rosemary Barton will host our CBC News special starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm Erica Johnson. Take care.